Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're an infrastructure admin grinding away, studying for that Nutanix certification, you are absolutely in the right place today. We are jumping right into this explainer, titled exactly NCP-MCI 7.5, 11.4 Known Issue, PCVM Reboots and Crashes. So we're basically putting on our forensic investigator hats today to unpack a very specific, critical known issue in the Nutanix ecosystem. We'll be breaking down Nutanix knowledge-based article 9850, looking at exactly what causes this issue, the underlying mechanisms, and, most importantly, how to spot it when they test you on it for the exam.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why this issue actually matters. Then we'll do a step-by-step walkthrough on Zookeeper session timeouts, followed by another walkthrough on ESXi VM stuns. After that, we'll dive into some common exam traps and edge cases, and finally, we'll wrap up with the key facts you absolutely need to memorize.
Okay, Section 1, Why This Issue Matters. Look, treating a crash management plane lightly, yeah, that's a recipe for absolute disaster. When your management plane goes down, you're literally flying blind, losing critical visibility and control over your entire cluster environment.
Now, before we get too deep into the technical weeds here, let's just make sure we're on the exact same page with our vocabulary. PCVM is your Prism Central Virtual Machine, right? That's your centralized management plane. Then we've got PCBR, which is Prism Central Backup and Recovery, the native built-in backup tool. And DR, well, you know that one, disaster recovery. Got it? Awesome. Let's keep moving. So, here's the deal. There is exactly one supported method for backing up your Prism Central VM, and that is PCBR. Period. On the flip side, we have our, let's call them the murder weapons in this scenario, the unsupported methods. We're talking about traditional hypervisor-based snapshots from third-party backup software or using Async DR snapshot schedules directly on the PCVM. Why are these banned? Because taking a standard snapshot of a PCVM just doesn't capture all that complex in-flight state information about your managed clusters. If you try to restore from one of those unsupported snapshots, you're going to get deep state inconsistencies between Prism Central and Prism Element. It is a massive manageability nightmare and, as we're about to see, a fast track to severe system crashes. Which brings us to Section 2, Walkthrough, Zookeeper Session Timeouts.
Okay, let's look at the exact domino effect you've got to understand for the exam. Step 1. That unsupported third-party backup, or Async DR schedule, kicks off a snapshot of the PCDM. Step 2. This snapshot operation severely stuns the storage. We're talking incredibly high read and write latencies on the PCVM's vDisks. Step 3, and this is crucial. Because those disks are essentially locked up, the system is completely starved for I/O. Internal services just can't communicate at all. The vCPU idle times literally drop to 0%. Why? Because the CPU is stuck in an I/O wait state, just spinning its wheels, waiting for unresponsive disks. As a result, Zookeeper, which handles cluster coordination, misses its required heartbeats, resulting in a fatal session timeout. And finally, Step 4. This massive loss of internal coordination and high latency triggers a full-blown kernel panic. The PCVM just completely crashes and reboots.
Now, as an admin, knowing where to find the proof is everything. You'll want to check these specific logs located in the /home Nutanix data /logs directory. First up, cassandramonitor.fatal. Then the sysstats logs. You've got iostat.info, which is going to show you those massive read and write latency spikes right when the snapshot was scheduled. And then there's mpstat.info. This one proves that your vCPU idle times totally flatlined to 0% during the event. Take a second to just mentally bookmark those exact log names. If you actually crack open those fatal logs, you might see a string that looks exactly like this. We have not talked to the Zookeeper server for 17361 milliseconds, which is higher than our session timeout of 12,000 milliseconds. I literally want you to burn this exact phrase into your brain. If an exam scenario describes a PCVM crashing and mentions this specific Zookeeper session timeout, boom, you instantly know you're dealing with an unsupported snapshot issue. Moving right along to Section 3, Walkthrough ESXi VM stuns.
So when a third-party backup tool targets a PCVM running specifically on ESXi, here's how the destruction plays out. T1, the backup initiates. T2, the hypervisor actually takes the snapshot. But T3 is where the real damage happens, snapshot removal.
The backup software has to consolidate those delta disks and remove the snapshot, right? Well, that is an incredibly I/O-intensive process, and it causes a massive VM stun. The VM is basically paused, frozen in time, totally unresponsive to the network, dropping active processes left and right. By T4, the PCVM just cannot survive that prolonged stun time. It starts throwing soft CPU resets and ultimately goes down hard into an ungraceful reboot.
To actually prove this happened on an ESXi host, you can't just rely on the Nutanix logs. You have to go directly to the NFS data store where the PCVM lives and check the vmware.log file. You're hunting for the word stun or this exact string right here. CPU reset, soft, mode 0. Find that, and you've found your culprit. Oh, and one super critical note for both real-world troubleshooting and the exam, do not forget to account for UTC time conversions. That VMware log is usually recorded in UTC by default. So say your PCVM crashed at 3 p.m. Eastern, make sure you're matching that up with the correct UTC timestamp in the VMware logs to tie it back to the backup schedule.
Now, what if you're backed into a corner where a third-party backup was already in place and you just need to stop the bleeding while you migrate to the supported PCBR method? The exam-relevant mitigation strategy here is Direct NFS Mode. Backup vendors like Veeam, for example, actually recommend using Direct NFS Mode to bypass the hypervisor host entirely. Doing that significantly cuts down on that deadly snapshot removal stun time that causes all those soft CPU resets we just talked about.
All right, on to Section 4, Exam Traps and Edge Cases.
Let's put you in the hot seat with a quick mock exam scenario. An admin sees PCVM vCPU idle times drop to 0% at 2 a.m., followed by a reboot. What is the likely cause? Take just a second. Try to formulate the answer in your head based on everything we've gone over.
Okay, did you spot it? The trap they're setting here is trying to get you to diagnose this as an undersized vCPU-CPU issue. It's so easy for an admin to see 0% idle CPU and immediately think, oh man, the VM is starving for compute, let's just throw more vCPUs at it. But the reality is completely different. Look at the time, 2 a.m. That is your classic automated backup window. What actually happened is an unsupported third-party backup ran overnight, stunned the storage, spiked the vDisk latency, and forced the CPU into an I/O wait state. It couldn't process a thing, so idle time dropped to 0 right before the inevitable Zookeeper crash. Do not fall for the resource starvation trap when all the clues are screaming scheduled backup stun.
And finally, Section 5, Key Facts to Memorize.
Let's bring it all home. Here are your 4 golden rules. Number 1, PCBR, Prism Central Backup and Recovery, is the absolutely only supported method for backing up a PCVM. Number 2, unsupported third-party backups, or Async DR snapshots, cause high vDisk latency, and that leads directly to Zookeeper FATAL timeouts. Number 3, on ESXi environments, the specific act of snapshot removal causes massive VM stuns, leading to soft CPU resets and reboots. And number 4, when you're troubleshooting this, your go-to logs are vmware.log on the data store for those ESXi stuns, plus iostat.info and mpstat.info for tracking the latency spikes and 0% vCPU idle times. Just lock these 4 facts in, and I promise you'll ace any scenario they throw your way on this topic.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought to bridge this exam theory back to your actual day job. Based on everything we uncovered in KB 9850 today, how are you going to adjust your own infrastructure's backup posture today to protect your management plane? Are there maybe some legacy backup jobs quietly hitting your PCVMs right now that you need to go audit and turn off? Honestly, it's probably worth taking a look. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and best of luck on your NCP-MCI 7.5 certification journey.